Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo will stay in each other's orbit after Wicked. The bond between these two stars isn't just a passing headline, it is a creative pact, a sisterhood forged in green and pink, in Oz shadows and spotlight, and now in a cultural moment that is far more lasting than the film credits. When you think of the upcoming sequel, you might imagine an epic spectacle, flying monkeys, emerald cities, dramatic musical numbers, but behind that, you must also see the human story of two women who chose to elevate each other, negotiate together, create together, and vow to remain connected long after the cameras stop rolling. Let's start with the context. The original musical, Wicked, was a phenomenon on Broadway, rewriting the tale of the Wicked Witch of the West and Glinda the Good Witch in such a way that the story became about friendship, rivalry, identity, and change. Then the film adaptation arrived, featuring Ariana Grande as Glinda and Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba, and it delivered not just box office success, but a cultural moment. They didn't just star in the movie, they became the movie. And now the sequel, titled Wicked for Good, hits theaters on November 21st, 2025. That gives us the stage to examine why Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo's orbit around each other is real and set to stay. From the start of their collaboration, the two women established something unusual in Hollywood. According to interviews, they negotiated their contracts together. They looked at each other's numbers, asked each other, "How do you feel about that?" Ariana said of Cynthia, "Her needs become my needs." Cynthia responded in kind, and her needs become mine. That kind of transparency, that kind of solidarity is rare. It says that from the very beginning, this was not just a co-starring gig, it was a partnership. That foundation set the tone for everything else. When filming started, they were not simply playing Glinda and Elphaba, they were living two intertwined journeys. Glinda's rise to popular renown, Elphaba's fight for freedom and identity. The sequel delves into the second act of the story, after the first film's major turning point, the moment Elphaba defies gravity and Glinda embraces her own truth. The director, John M. Chu, explained that the decision to split the adaptation into two films was because the story was simply too rich for one. That decision breathed space into their characters and into their real-life bond. In recent weeks, the promotion has amped up. On November 7th, 2025, the NBC special Wicked, One Wonderful Night aired live with Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo on stage together, previews of two brand new songs from the sequel, No Place Like Home for Elphaba and The Girl in the Bubble for Glinda, behind-the-scenes footage, and a reunion with Broadway originals. That event showed us how public their dynamic has become. Fans in green face paint, a full-blown musical celebration, and two stars who clearly relished sharing the moment. That's not a promotional obligation, they made it look like joy. But the real news and the core of their orbit is what's been happening off-screen. Just this month, Ariana and Cynthia revealed matching tattoos. Both got a "For Good" ink on their palms. It was shared on Instagram as a simple photo of their hands, symbols of their connection. That tattoo isn't just aesthetic, it is metaphorical. It says, "This is our moment. This is our pact." It says, "We're staying." Because in a world of fleeting collaborations, tattoos are, well, more permanent. Let's dig deeper into their emotional reflections. Cynthia Erivo said, "I honestly don't think this is going to leave our lives for a very long time. I think this might be stuck with us for quite some time." Ariana Grande added, "They're intertwined irrevocably. One doesn't exist without the other." These are strong words. They're not spin. They reflect the reality they lived for years, filming concurrently, filming the two parts together, recording songs together, rehearsing, sharing highs and lows. They were in Oz together, and they're keeping Oz with them. What does that look like practically? First, new music. The sequel soundtrack features two brand new songs written for this film, and Cynthia revealed that she co-wrote one of them with Stephen Schwartz, the original composer. She said on a podcast, "I don't know if you're ready for it. We definitely had some collaboration on my one," and she recalled when we filmed it, the cast and crew were crying. That level of authenticity and emotional breakthrough means their collaboration transcends just acting. They're creating together. Ariana's new song likewise exists as a pivotal moment for Glinda. The soundtrack itself drops on the same day as the film, November 21st, 2025. Second, shared legacy. Their characters are written in platonic opposition, Glinda versus Elphaba, but their real-life relationship is the opposite, alignment. They emerged from the same production with the same mission: tell a story about female friendship, empowerment, identity, the cost of being good or wicked. They've said publicly that the first film was only half the story, that this sequel completes the arc. And in sharing that completion, they've shared their own arc. So, when the credits roll, their orbit continues: interviews, events, soundtracks, maybe even further collaborations. Third, beyond the film. The matching tattoos, the publicly shared moments, the co-writing credits, the tours of promotion, they signal this is not just one project for them. It's the start of something broader. Perhaps full albums, perhaps live specials, perhaps tours or musical events. The underlying truth is, when two major stars commit to our film instead of my film, the aftermath becomes a joint brand. Of course, this story is not without its tension or intrigue. What happens when the glow dims? What happens when they move on to other projects? The key and overlooked factor here is that they formally committed to each other early on. When negotiations were happening, when the two films were in production, they didn't see each other as competition, they saw each other as allied. That mindset is what underpins their orbit. That mindset is what makes fans believe this is more than a press tour handshake.
Public reaction offers proof. The live special was covered as a big night in where the two stars ruled. Headlines called it the pink and green bonanza. Social media posts of fans leaning into the Glinda/Elphaba dynamic celebrated the real-life friendship. On Instagram and X, memes of Glinda and Elphaba hugging on set were everywhere. And the tattoo announcement sparked a surge of friendship goals commentary. The press narrative shifted from stars in a musical to two women who chose each other. Let's talk chronology to ground this. Film 1 released in late 2024. Filming wrapped in January 2024. The decision to split the story into two parts was made earlier so as not to cut songs or characters. Then, in June 2025, the first trailer for Wicked for Good dropped. The soundtrack was announced to drop November 21, 2025. The NBC special aired early November 2025. The matching tattoo reveal happened in early November 2025. The film releases November 21, 2025. All of that shows momentum and that the orbit is active, not inert. How did Ariana and Cynthia build this bond? There are a few marked moments worth noting. During production, they shared intensive rehearsals. Ariana, mostly known as pop star, entered uncharted acting musical territory with massive pressure. Cynthia, already an Oscar-winning actor-singer, embraced mentoring in some ways and fueling Ariana's confidence. They reportedly spent off hours in costume, testing harmonies, joking together, exploring each other's characters. That kind of inside team friendship breeds public chemistry. The director said if they hadn't gotten along, the film would have felt different. He characterized them as family by the end of filming. And yes, there is the tattoo. One might ask, why the tattoo? Ariana posted the photo with caption referencing 20 days until the film and tagged #WickedMovie. Cynthia reposted with a heart emoji. It was simple, but symbol-rich. In Hollywood, tattoos are statements. This one reads, "We are in this together." Permanence. and permanence is the heart of orbit. Let's consider what staying in each other's orbit actually means for you as the viewer and fan. It means expect cross appearances. Maybe Ariana will appear in Cynthia's music or theater projects. Maybe Cynthia will appear in Ariana's tours or musicals. It means expect live performances together, songs together, interviews in tandem, behind-the-scenes specials together. Their orbit means that when one moves, the other is pulled or affected, intentionally, by design, not by coincidence. It means the story they started in Emerald City continues in stadiums, in playlists, in pop culture conversations. What are the cultural implications? This is a moment where two women of large platforms refuse to replicate the rival co-stars trope. They instead model collaboration, real friendship, mutual respect. In a genre that often pits female leads against each other, this is refreshing. Their story becomes part of a larger conversation. Representation, female creative alliances, major musicals adapted for screen in a way that honors their depth. The fact that they didn't hide their joint negotiation process, didn't hide their bond, makes a statement. We succeed together. That resonated with fans and will continue to. Now, as full disclosure, there are still unknowns. How exactly their partnership evolves remains to be seen. Will they maintain equal intensity of collaboration now that filming ends? Will their careers diverge and grow apart? Possibly, but the foundation is strong. The tattoo, the public expressions of devotion, the shared creative work, they all signal this is not a film set friendship that fades. Let's walk through how the release timeline fuels their orbit. In early November, the special aired, reintroducing them to millions in a live format, reminding fans that the story isn't over. Then the trailer, then the soundtrack, then the film, all coordinated. It means their public narrative is aligned, their brand is aligned. By fans associating Ariana with Glinda and Cynthia with Elphaba, their voices are connected. The premiere campaign becomes a shared platform. So when you talk about them in interviews, you'll often see mention of the sisterhood they formed. Speaking of sisterhood, Ariana said of Cynthia, "What a privilege it has been to sing and fly and fight beside you." Cynthia said of Ariana, "Your voice, your commitment, your heart, I am so grateful." Those aren't casual fluff. They reflect the intensity of what they went through together. Wire work, complex vocal arrangements, orchestra recordings, rigorous camera work, emotional character arcs. Two major stars navigating blockbuster pressure in tandem. Under that pressure, many relationships crack, but theirs seems not only intact, thriving. There's also the narrative of identity. Ariana's Glinda is glamorous, skilled at optics, beloved by Oz's people. Cynthia's Elphaba is misunderstood, rebellious, green-skinned, fighting for truth. In the story, they clash. In real life, they unite. That juxtaposition is part of what fans love, the opposites attract concept applied to friendship, not romance. Their orbit is emotional as well as professional. What should you watch for next? First, live performances. If they tour the soundtrack or do a special event, expect them together. Second, social media posts. Expect more matching tattoos? Maybe. Or behind-the-scenes stories of one supporting the other in a new project. Third, future creative work. They may collaborate beyond Wicked. Ariana may feature Cynthia in her next album. Cynthia may star in a musical project with Ariana as guest. Their orbit is the space inside which unexpected collaborations may occur. Let me share one more moment. During the NBC special, a viral 4-year-old superfan was brought on stage next to Ariana Grande. Cynthia later embraced the child, showing the inclusive, generous energy behind their public performance. That moment became social media gold, but it also said they transcend their characters. They recognize the community of fans. They honor the magic that brought them here. That level of awareness contributes to their enduring orbit. They're not just stars in a story, they're guardians of the story. As the countdown continues to November 21, 2025, there's no doubt the release of Wicked for Good will dominate headlines. But beyond that, this partnership between Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo will linger. Their choices, from equal pay to shared creative credit to matching tattoos, tell us one thing:
They plan to remain connected. They plan to stay in each other's orbit. So if you're a fan of musicals, a fan of celebrity culture with substance, a fan of female creative alliances, this is the story to watch. Ariana and Cynthia didn't just show up for a movie. They created a legacy together. And you'll be seeing the ripples long after the yellow brick road ends. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.